Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the state of Arizona in the 2022 midterms. There's a competitive Senate race and governor race that we're going to look at today, but first I'd like to say if you like my content, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell and leave a like and comment. With that said, let's get into it. I'm going to touch on the Senate race in Arizona first. Incumbent Democratic Senator Mark Kelly is running for re-election to a full term since he was first elected in 2020 to fill the rest of John McCain's term, and he's running against Blake Masters. As you can see on the Real Clear Politics average, he's currently leading by around 4 points on average, Mark Kelly that is. But as the summer's come to an end, the race has narrowed, and Masters is closing in on Kelly. If you look down here, you can see that Kelly was up by closer to 8 points over the summer, but since Masters won the primary in August and has turned his focus to the general election in the fall, it has narrowed. Even on this aggregate here, you can see older polls had Kelly up by 8 or 9, while he's only up by 2 to 6 in recent polls that have been conducted in the last 3 weeks or so. A similar thing happened in the Georgia Senate race that I covered in my last video, which you should check out, and this actually happens all the time. Republicans usually get a polling bump nationwide after Labor Day, and this has happened for several years now, so we can expect the polls to close in even more as Election Day approaches. If we go and look at 538's model, we will see that they give Kelly a 79% chance of victory, and the popular vote is at 51.7 to 46.2. I think this is a pretty ridiculous overestimate of Kelly. I think he's definitely the favorite right now, in my opinion, but I don't think he's going to win by 5 points. It's probably closer to 3. 538, of course, has a history of Democratic bias in their models because they rely too much on polling to predict elections, and they have ever since 2016. If you look down here at the polling they use for their forecast, they use outliers like these that have Kelly up by 20 and 15 and put it into their forecast. And polling as a whole has been garbage for a long time, and it continues to infect 538's model. Like I said before, the race is narrowing, and the polls are showing that other than those outliers. And I think 538's model will probably reflect that as it happens, but their reliance on polling definitely skews their model. As I've obviously mentioned throughout the video so far, the race is getting closer, and a big reason for that is that national Republicans have started putting money into this race. Before he won the nomination, Masters came out against Mitch McConnell and said he should be replaced as the Republican leader in the Senate, and in turn, McConnell pulled funding from the race and basically decided to give up on it. Recently, however, super PACs have been giving more money to Masters' campaign, and McConnell has even been in talks with Peter Thiel, who gives a lot of money to Republican candidates, about giving Masters more money. As more money flows into this race from the Masters campaign and his donors, his chances are going to improve. Lots of people who are saying this race is not going to be competitive are not really taking this into account, and while I do believe Kelly is the favorite currently, he's not guaranteed to be the winner. Moving on from the Senate race, the other major race in Arizona this year is the gubernatorial election. Incumbent Governor Doug Ducey is term limited, so this race is an open race between Republican Kari Lake and Democrat Katie Hobbs. The general consensus here is that Katie Hobbs is in a worse position than Mark Kelly, and I definitely agree with that. Looking at the Real Clear Politics average for this race, it's currently tied, but their forecast does have Lake as the victor. In 538, despite including other polls that have Hobbs up by double digits, they still have Hobbs in a worse position than Kelly, and they have her with a 62% chance of winning, where they had Kelly with a 79% chance of winning. Before their latest polling update, they had it as a really close toss-up, but after they included those outliers that had Hobbs up by double digits, it's been moved to lean Democrat. Personally, I think Lake is going to win by a couple points. She used to work for a news station in Arizona, and though that doesn't sound like much, it does give her additional popularity and recognition. And this has happened before. If you look at neighboring New Mexico in 2020, Mark Ronchetti outperformed Trump, and he worked for news for a while. It's just a weird pattern in elections that people on the news tend to do better. And she's obviously not going to win everyone who knew her as an anchor, but her name recognition from when she was an anchor definitely helps. A big reason people think Masters and Lake are down is because they are too Trump-like. Since Trump and McCain feuded, Trump lost his popularity among Republicans in the state, and that partially caused him to lose Arizona in 2020. However, candidates that are less like Trump are also struggling nationwide. In Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz is actually leading among independents, but doesn't have as much Republican support. Masters and Lake have solidified the base, and undecideds usually break for the opposition party during midterm years, and that happens to be Republicans this year. Arizona Republicans mostly dislike Trump because of him as a person and what he said about John McCain, and not really his policies. People also think that Arizona is more of a neocon state, but the 2020 results in the state kind of prove otherwise. If you look at the Senate results, Martha McSally, who was a neoconservative in the Senate, lost by over 2 points, while Trump only lost to Joe Biden by 0.3. If neocon policies really were more appealing to Arizona, McSally would have outperformed Trump like most Senate candidates do, like John James in Michigan and Cory Gardner in Colorado, but she underperformed. And as with the rest of the races this year, Joe Biden's unpopularity obviously is going to help Republicans in Arizona. While this year is not looking like it's going to favor Republicans as much was originally expected, midterms still always favor the party of the opposite president because they're more motivated. Obviously, things like the Dobbs decision have energized Democrats more, but it's not going to be enough to totally stop Republican momentum. Arizona is a state that's moving left, but in years like this, Republicans can still win. And that's all I really have to say about Arizona for now. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe, and comment telling me what you think. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.